these were the first ones that I did after the Blue-Eyed Boys, and so they were straight after about sort of 6 months. This one's called Three Men on the Isle of Wight, and it's in Latin. And I like altarpieces and religious medieval and Renaissance art, but these are non-religious, and it's a kind of a pun of three men in a boat.
Oh, right, okay. And but still referencing that idea of the iconography.
Yes, having gold, lots of gold. But if you read that, it's a history of each of us, everything that we've done in our lives. So this Jim has been an Isle of Wight steam railway platform guard, or I've been a skater and I sing. And this is the third person, Richard, and he's into crafts and tapestry and all that. So I basically put their histories around as if it's a halo, you know. So it reminds you of religious things, but actually they're secular. And then I put all the animals in as well. Right.
And what are the things that are being held there? They've got special significance.
I love nature, so I'm sort of being Francis of Assisi. I mean, I really do love nature.
Just the continual religious references.
Yeah, you know, it's a kind of a thing where you know you're.
They did this.
It does mean a lot to me. It's my religion in a way is nature,
right?
And I'm not religious, but I love birds and I love butterflies and all that kind of thing. And then he makes glass objects, so it's like showing something which is you know, a religious reliquary, you know.
Yeah.
And
very good. I mean, and they're beautifully painted as well, of course.
Well, this one got into the Royal Society of Portraiture. It was the first one that got in.
Right.
So,
and how does that? What they sort of give you a call and say, "Hey, you've hit the jackpot. Come in."
You apply for it, and actually, I was rejected with the large Blue-Eyed Boys because they were too brash in a way. They liked smaller paintings, and I put this in, and nobody was doing folding portraits, and they thought it was original. It's not. It's 500 years old. So.
They want to chin up on their art history a bit.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. This, I mean, it's just, and this in the background is. I guess this is from
just above Shanklin,
right?
Between Shanklin and Ventnor, going up the road
towards.
That's right, and you have this great view across to Culver Down,
beautiful,
and the sea marker.
Yeah.
And it's such a great Isle of Wight scene, isn't it? I mean, it just says everything, you know.
Okay, and next one.
This one is called Three Taxidermists from Boston Spa.
Okay.
And I heard.
And then we've got a chicken. Is this a pheasant?
Yes, this is a dead partridge which comes alive inside. And I heard that Claire Balding did an interview with these three men, and I thought I've got to meet these guys because they're naturalists and they're completely mad about nature, and they are experts in their own field. So one of them is an expert in butterflies.
Yeah.
That's him. And again, it's that gesture of the butterfly in the hand.
Right.
One's an expert in stuffing birds, and the other one's an expert in stuffing mammals.
Right.
And they're friends, and they all live in Boston Spa. And I just thought there was something really amazing about the fact that these three blokes were friends. Yeah. And going on a walk with them, as Claire Balding said, it's a mine of knowledge. It was amazing. They were testing each other with feathers. He said, "What feather is that?" And they would say which bird it was from, which feather, and which wing it was on.
Wow.
And really amazing. So I was very impressed by their knowledge, but it's just a beautiful place. Boston Spa is a beautiful place. So that's about them. Right, and that got into the competition next year, the London competition, the Royal Society.
Right, okay. And I noticed there's different hinging on this one here.
There is. This closes totally.
The world of hinging as well.
Yeah, this closes totally. I haven't done it just now, but you can actually close this completely.
Yeah.
It's like a Japanese folding screen that folds in on itself.
Right.
Whereas that's more European, that one. So yes, I've had to learn hinging.
Right. I mean, this is just brilliantly. This face, I don't know, it's really captured me. I don't know why.
Well, he's got such sharp eyesight. He's like a heron.
Right.
And that's what drew me. And as you know, I like
he
blue eyes.
He is intently staring. Yeah.
And it's those blue eyes were just so incredibly sharp.
Right.
And he was seeing things as we were walking, things like kingfishers and insects. And I've got a good observation, but these guys were superb. So that's what it was about, their passion.
Right. Wow.
And we both, as an artist and they as taxidermists, we both have a love of nature, and they show it in a different way. They show nature once it's dead, how beautiful a kingfisher might be, whereas I might paint it. And we actually come from a very similar place. We all love nature. So it's a kind of a shared... But
that's the idea of taking something dead and then making it last forever. I mean, you do obviously get to know the bird completely, literally inside out.
That's what I do.
Right.
But I do it in 2 dimensions.
Right, okay.
When I paint nature, that is.
Yes.
And maybe when I paint people, who knows?
Right. And when did you see them at work as well?
I did.
Right.
I saw them. That partridge was like that on the other side. I saw it in the studio, and I saw it later, and it looked like that.
Right.
That's why there's a partridge on the front and in the middle. Yeah.
Very good. Should we go to another one?
Yes, this one here, I may need you to stay with. This is about 2 friends who live in 2 cities. It's called A Tale of 2 Cities, as in the novel.
Yeah.
If you can just stabilise that.
Yeah.
Just keep it where it is. This will be 2 seconds.
Slide it up a little.
That's it.
There we go. Okay.
There we are.
So this is a sort of I don't know the right word, stippled, or is that the right word?
It's put through a computer, and I like working through with computers and making it back into a painting.
Right.
But originally it was sketches and photographs. I put it through a computer, a little bit like the artist Chuck Close. He did those kind of things in the noughties.
Right.
But I do a different thing. I'm making it more intimate. His paintings are huge. And it's just a way of getting an interest. It's not painting it plain, but you can get any colour in flesh, and it can be exciting. I mean, you can put blue in flesh or green in flesh. It still looks like flesh if you get the right mix.
Right.
And this is about them living in 2 cities. So that sky, well, you can see where that is.
Yeah, but
and it's a guessing game. It's a guessing game.
Yeah, and this St Paul's, it looks like.
Well, actually, it's not. It's Nottingham, but it looks like St Paul's. It's copying St Paul's.
Right.
And it
has
a wheel.
Was that the idea of the Nottingham building to copy?
Well, I wanted the background to be sort of similar, but I wanted people to guess where it's from.
Okay.
But it does look like St Paul's, but it's not. And there's also a wheel there, just like in London, just in the background there. As you walk back, you can see the detail. But it's a way of stippling. It's like sort of having frosted glass.
Yeah.
There's something interesting about that, rather than doing just straight sort of painting.
I mean, with all of these, you're challenging yourself to do different
all
techniques.
All the time. Yeah. I don't want to. I don't want to be bored by it. So I try painterly things, even although its base, if you like, with this one is computer based, and I want to use language of now which reflects our time. So I don't shy away from photography or computers or any means, because artists have always used means in order, like Holbein used a camera obscura, but nobody talks about that, and David Hockney uses photography. I mean, artists have used those means since 1300, and they're mechanical means. So I don't shy from that, and I don't apologise for it. But you still have to have an artistic eye to compose it and make it. And,
and then come up with the idea of, well, I'm going to stipple this.
Yes, and how I'm going to do it. And I need to know about colour theory to make that work.
Right. Now, colour theory, for a person who doesn't understand it, how would you explain that simply?
Well, for me, colour theory is in your eyes, and I do colour workshops. I'm doing a summer workshop. It's in your eyes, and people think of colour theory from a book, but actually colour theory is you have 3 receptors in your eyes, green, red and blue, and they will get turned on if they look at green, red or blue, or yellow. So for instance, in yellow, there is no yellow. my green receptors and red receptors are making that into yellow, like a television screen.
Right.
You know how there's no yellow tube in a television
so
screen?
So it is yellow, but the human eye splits it into...
red and green, and so does a television. So if you look at yellow on a television and you put a little bit of water on it, there is no yellow. And Seurat did that. He made yellow and green lawns, sort of yellow lawns out of red and green dots. So he was using pixelation in Victorian times.
Right. And was that known at that point?
Yeah,
about the
it was
eye?
beginning to get known. The Impressionists are the last great colour innovators. They suddenly saw you didn't need to paint something green. You could actually paint it, or yellow. You could paint it red and green, and the eye mixes it. And I'm very interested
was
in the eye.
Was that them understanding the science,
Yeah,
do you think?
yeah, it's beginning to.
Yeah.
The great French dyers, from 1860, he was called Chevreul, I think he was called, and they were really interested in the science of it. And so somebody like Monet came along and put two colours together, and it mixed, your eyes mixed it, and I loved that kind of thing. So your eyes will mix that into a flesh colour, even although it's green and purple and blue, And I'm fascinated by the science of colour. And I love the Impressionists.
Well, there's one down here that had, when we walked in, that had a similar idea, well, as in the moulding of colours, but done in a different style.
Yeah. This one here, it's the piece of the show, it's called Odd and Even, is using your eye to mix those colours. That looks like flesh colour, but actually those are primary colours. So there is no skin colour there. There's just light reds. Right. If we say the primary colours are red, blue and green, it's either light red, blue and green, mid red, blue and green, or dark red, blue and green. But they're all primary colours. I haven't mixed the colours.
And coming close to them, you can see.
Yes, you can see there's very bright green.
And there's the circular movement around there as well, or circular drawing.
That was an idea from the Italian, the futurists. It was a way of making our painting dynamic. It was after Impressionism. It was kind of, what are we going to do now? And they were very into technology and very into sort of progress. And so they did quite a lot of circular paintings of light, and they were into science and everything. So I took that idea and put it into a portrait like that, starting from one point, moving out, and it radiates.
Yeah. And they get wider.
As they get up, but only slightly.
Is that... What do? You start with a compass and you draw the circles?
I have to start with the compass, so it takes forever to draw it. And forever to paint it
as well.
Yeah, I've got a compass that big.
Yeah. I mean, what's amazing is then looking at the eyes on here and how they completely cut through all of the other colours that are there. I don't know if that's because eyes are so vital to humans, or whether it's just the way
they actually have lots of different colours in the eyes, but I've made it so that the tones make it look brown, but there's actually, they get cut through as well, the eyes.
Right. Yeah.
But the eyes are, for a portrait, the eyes are so important. If you get them wrong, and I do get them wrong, it can ruin the portrait, But the eyes are
really striking. And the movement, the circular movement, somehow the arms feel like they're part of that as well.
Yeah, they are. It's part of the composition to get that kind of that drama. I mean, because I was kind of, and this, I was trained as a skater. That kind of body drama is very important to me, and I put things that I learnt in skating into my. So, for instance, balance is very important, and I always see that balance in a composition. If it's got that kind of skaterly balance on a knife edge, then I've got it right. So, but I mean, basically, balance. If you're balancing on an edge like that, you have to be balanced, and I always try and put that into my paintings.
Right.
So that it looks like it won't fall over on the ice.
Right.
It's that kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's a very basic bodily function. That's not the right word.
Well, something that people don't think about.
No, you don't think. And I teach dancers, and actually quite often they're very good at getting a plumb line.
Right.
Because they know it physically. Right. And I start from a physical thing, and lots of it, I don't think about theory, I start physically. It's like colour theory is starting from the physical eye colours, and I know that they're in there. I don't need a theory. I can see it. You can see it if you look hard enough. So.
Amazing. Oh, this is
a counter to that.
The iconography of the gold leaf.
That's right. Well, I like Russian icons, and I just thought the Mexican hat just worked really well with the gold leaf. And this is odd and even, and in a way this is a much straighter portrait, more like my Blue-Eyed Boys, and much straighter without the eye kind of acrobatics there. But it's such a kind of a striking pose, you know, and so I made the hat the important thing in this, to frame her amazing head.
Right.
And I tried to make them both heroic, so they're both from below, and it gives that statuesque feel, and she is very statuesque, this model.
Very good, very good. I think I don't want to spoil it for people who are going to come along.
Yeah, sure.
So maybe is there one more that we can pick? What about these ones?
Yes,
over
these
here?
I'll tell you about those.
Okay.
Yeah, these are.
I mean, it's probably worthwhile saying as well that seeing it on a video and experiencing it, two utterly different experiences, aren't they? Because you can see the techniques you've used, you can understand. You get so much more in real than you do in video.
Well, in that, there's two types of golds. There's matte gold and shiny gold. So the laurels are shiny and the background's matte. And you can't pick that up on a video if you look at it.
Right. Of course, you get the different reflections.
The foils are much shinier.
Right.
But this is sort of copying Coptic portraits.
The Coptics, the Russian?
No, Coptics are North African, and it's that mixture between early Christian and Egyptian. And they often put these, I mean, it's a little bit dark, but they used to put these Roman portraits onto Egyptian sarcophagi. And it's an exact mixture of Roman and Egyptian. Right. So it's kind of 1st and 2nd century AD.
Right.
And the Coptics still exist, but it's an early Christianity. It's very, very fundamental Christianity. And I love the portraits. They're so intimate and they're just superbly drawn and quite rough. So I made it rough like those, as if it's been found in the ground. Yeah. And that was quite a thing, because those are all bent, but it adds to it. And also their eyes and everything's a little bit skew. So and I quite like that.
How come it looks like separate planks here?
That's
but
what they
once
would
you get into the painting,
it's just what they used to do is put gesso chalk over it, just liquid gesso. It's a kind of a liquid chalk. It's like emulsion paint, but it's chalk. Right. And it would smooth, and then you sand it, and that's what you put the gold leaf onto. And it also smooths out any surfaces. Right. And they used to use, that's a true panel painting. That's how Romans used to make panel, is that they used to make separate wood like that and then sand it, and it's a lot of work. Right. I mean, we just buy a panel now, but that's how they would have done it. In planks. So
that's an important part to you, is it, that to do it in the way that it was done to start with?
It's one of the important things, but again, I go back to simple basics. I don't like working on canvas because it wobbles. And lots of people love canvas, but actually I can't work on canvas because it wobbles, and I've got quite a heavy hand, and it kind of wobbles back and forth, and I like the resistance that wood gives. Right. It's very resistant, and but yet the gesso is like a baby's bottom. It's so smooth when it's sanded, and it sucks the paint in. Right. Wow, very good. Okay. Thank you for your time. Okay. Really good. Really good.